All right, hello everyone. How you going? Back again with another chat with Guy. You know him, you love him, author extraordinaire. And he's just released his third book, by the way. So how you going, guys? Welcome
I'm
back.
uh, I'm good, thank you. Yeah, exhausted after a long weekend of where we went zip
Yes.
lining for the stag and cave we were caving and then the wedding, you know. Four,
Congratulations. Yes, your
thank
son's
you.
got married. Yes.
Yeah, 14-hour day that was. It was and a lot of smiling, so my cheeks hurt. But yeah, really good. But yeah,
Nice.
it's strange, having been away for 5 days, coming back and having to get back into it all, and my brain's kind of not really returned with me yet. So I'm hoping it'll catch
Yes.
up.
Oh, that's right. Well, we'll take it slow. We'll take it easy on you, mate. But you got home to a small package, I hear.
Oh, yeah, and I'm amazed that
A small package.
these.
Yes. Tartaria Australia
Yeah,
magazine.
yeah.
All
I'm
right.
amazed how quickly they came.
We express posted them to you because of course we're chatting to you on Sunday on our
Mm,
12-hour live stream. Link below. Come and join us. And so we wanted you to have a look at what we're doing before you jumped on,
mm,
right? So you weren't out of the loop.
yeah.
So we sent them to Martin and Michelle as well. Yes, so yes, magazine, link below. But more importantly, something else bigger than that was on your doorstep when you got home.
Yeah, yeah, and like I was saying to you, I made £1,500 worth of stock sat on my doorstep for 5 days. And we're exposed here because we're in the middle of nowhere. So I'm so glad it didn't rain badly here. But yeah, my stock
Woohoo!
arrived. Hey, my new book.
Book
Yeah, it's a thick. You can see
three.
how thick it is. Yeah,
Man, you're
yeah.
like,
So
you're prolific. Is that three in 3 years
yes,
or what, less than 3 years? When was your first
three in
one?
2 years.
Three in
Yeah,
two
but
years. That's crazy.
the first one was 5 years worth of work that that
Okay, yeah.
that were notes. So all I had to do was put the notes in order and then make it make sense and flow. The second one was 12 years of
Oh,
research. So I keep notebooks on everything. And this latest one is based upon my posts on Facebook I put up every day and also my website blog. So I already had the guts of it. So it
nice.
wasn't,
So what is
don't
your
get me
website?
wrong,
Is it?
the Tartarian
Oh, the
Empire.co.uk.
Tartarian Empire. So did
Mm.
you have that before you released your books?
No,
Oh,
no.
that's
I
part of that.
built that website about 6 months ago,
Ah,
but there's a glitch with it, and I can't load new product to it. So it's got my first two books on there, but I can't load anything else. It keeps
ah.
kicking it off, and they're looking into it, and they're getting back to me, and
What
they
is
don't
it?
get back to me, and
WordPress or Wix or
no, it will be WordPress because I'm changing it, but at the moment it's just off the shelf
yeah,
website with a company called
pre-built?
GoDaddy.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, GoDaddy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The
I
URL people.
yeah, I needed a shop. I needed e-commerce, and it was quicker. And I thought I'll build a website just so it's there. So if people want to order signed copies, they haven't got to go through me with emails and sending payment details and bank details and so on. I thought it would be
Mm.
easy. And I didn't realize how popular the website would be. It's had loads of traffic, loads of sales. So I was so frustrated when I couldn't load the new book on there.
Jeez, well, where is the new book? Is that on Amazon's at the moment, or you don't know how
Yeah,
new it is? All right, well, we'll leave the link to
yeah.
that below so everyone can go and grab it. I mean, technology, we're like 25 plus years into the internet, and it doesn't seem to be getting easier or better, does it? Like
No,
the user
no.
friendliness, like, because we're going through the same stuff, well, mainly Kelly, with trying to get all, even just ticket sales for the weekend live stream, the 12-hour, and obviously the newspaper. Like, it's just crazy. And we've ended up with all these different email lists, and you can't just like email at people easily. It's
I
just,
know.
I'm sure they make it hard to just to annoy us.
I don't understand it. You're quite right. I'm looking at my website and thinking, well, this is quite basic, really, the platform. And this is no different to the first website I had 20 years ago. Really, it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
that different. Why haven't they ironed out the glitches after all this time? Why do we still have the same problems? And I think it comes down to one thing. They don't care.
No,
They just don't care. So many people use their off the shelf
they're
packages
making so
that if
much
you
money.
decide,
Yeah.
yeah, so you can
Why would
say
they
I'm
invest
off.
money in, research and development, right? Because we know, right, every company that's public has shareholders, and so it's all about profit. It's no longer about the product and the customers. It's about the profit and the shareholders.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think most businesses are like that. If shareholders are involved,
Yeah.
they don't care. I say that to my wife all the time. She works for a company that look after vulnerable kids, and there's more emphasis on getting paperwork right for the government than there is on what the children are up to or how the staff are. The well-being of the staff and the children is non-existent. They're
Yeah.
not interested. It's
Down the
all
line,
box
right?
ticking and yeah,
Yeah.
and you're just a cog in a machine.
Yeah. It's a business because like I'm learning about like trusts and foundations and PMAs at the moment. We're doing all these courses. And it was interesting. Because things used to be like they call it now a trust, right? Which is the spell. There's no A in front of it. It's just trust. Like so, all businesses used to be trusts before all this, dead corporation stuff come in. And so literally, it was just a contract, right? Where you trust someone.
Yeah,
I'll do this, you
yeah,
do this, we'll do this. Cool, and it's about trust. But then they've created corporations which are not trusts, and they no longer have basically rules that are for the trusts have rules and they can't be changed. This is why we started. This is what we want. And you can't buy it or sell it. With a corporation, you can buy it or sell it, and there's no rules. So people can just, even if someone starts it in trust, trying to do a good thing, if it's in the public, someone will just buy it if it's a good idea, change all the rules, and it just becomes this hideous bloody, control
yeah,
mechanism, basically.
yeah. I totally
So
agree.
I need to
A
just
lot of people
trust.
aren't aware of that. So you're really looking into the straw man, as they call it.
Oh man, I'm going, yeah, yeah. So yeah, there's going to be another big announcement on the 12-hour stream that we've been working on for months, most of this year, really. But before we can do it, we need to get it, we need to know all this stuff about law and we need to get it into the private, out of the view of the government, untaxed and all that. So I've been doing a lot of that. And then I'm also doing a personal course with this guy I met, um, who's basically been doing all this. He's not really a straw man sovereign, he's not one of these people who's like, oh, you can't touch me, I'm a living man, because that doesn't work, right? But he's been doing all this stuff for like 40 years.
Oh
Used to live
wow.
next door to Packer, taught him a lot of the stuff. He's had like massive government contracts and millions and like done it all tax free because everything he does is within the system. He just finds the forms that all the billionaires use, right, to get out of paying tax and to get out of this and out of that. So I'm learning a lot about that as well. So that's more the private, like that's for myself.
Yeah,
And I'm learning about all the business, which is not really business, right? The trust kind of
yeah,
stuff as well. So yeah, man, it's very interesting. It's a lot of we've been so programmed. It's the biggest thing is just to change the wording, the way you think. And like I said, just like the word trust, I've known what a trust is for ages. I obviously know what trust is, but it wasn't until today that I went, oh, it's not a trust, it's just trust.
mm,
Right? So there's all
yeah.
these things, man. Yeah, it's interesting. So we're going to start exploring that on the podcast as well once we understand more of it.
It is very clever. I mean, there are people out there that have gone to the government and said that you have created a corporation in my name from the moment I was born, and you've been trading in that,
Yes.
and I would like the money because you're communicating to me in the same, you know, full
Yeah.
caps spelling. So I would like that money. And some people have tried paying bills with it, saying you can settle the bill using my trust.
Yes. Yes. I know people who have done that. you do need to know what you're doing though, right? You can do it
Yes.
because like when you get down to it, it's all a ledger.
Mm,
They just need to balance the ledger. As long as it's balanced, they don't care. So if you know the right words to say and the right documents to hand in, they'll
yeah.
just write it on that side of the ledger and it's balanced and it's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone, right? Like I mean, it just led so much like we get like credit cards, right? Everyone thinks that a credit card is something you have to pay back, but you actually don't. If you read through all the stuff, they've given you credit. They've given you something. They've just, and then where we actually hold our money when we deposit it in the bank, it's called a debit account. So you don't own that money. It's
No.
completely inverted. When
Yeah.
we put money in, it should be a credit,
Yeah.
right? And the credit
Yeah.
card, if they expect us to pay it back, should be a debit card. But so it's very convoluted and weird, but there's also a lot of loopholes if you start to understand what they're really doing. But this stuff, I mean, like I said, this guy's been going at it for like 40 years or more. Um, and we're actually going to get him on the podcast. He's got some interesting stories. He's got like, I don't know, he's one of these people with like 5 or 6 degrees. He's like a doctor, he's like a master mariner, and he used to drive ships, icebreakers to Antarctica with
Really?
all the scientific crews on it. I've got some, yeah, so I can tell you some stuff offline before we get him on because we're not sure how much he wants to say or anything. But
Yeah.
interesting stuff, man. Interesting stuff.
So isn't it interesting though that there are two things about Antarctica that are really strange, and one is why are so many scientific teams based there? Why? Way
Right.
more than you would need if it is just what we've been told. And secondly, all of the countries that still adhere to the treaty, despite despising each other. Why would that be? Why is it no matter what they're arguing about, none of them will break that treaty? It's very strange, isn't it?
It's a very good question, right? I mean, same in the Arctic as well, but the
Mm,
focus definitely seems to be on the Antarctic, especially of late. And we've got all these stories of like all the Australian prime ministers go there. I've heard all the royals have been there, a lot of American presidents. Like, why are they going there? And then obviously, we've got the narrative of the ice walls and things, and is there stuff past there? Is there civilizations or are they mining? Is it really frozen? Because I haven't been
yeah.
there. I've seen photos of the ice wall, but I've also seen AI. And this is the thing about AI, right? Like the internet's getting, it's eating itself, right? It's getting less
Yes,
and
it
less
is.
reliable. But when you think, we all know that whatever tech they let out to us, they've had it for at least decades, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So our
Absolutely.
latest best AI, which is pretty bloody good, they had at least 20 or 30 years ago. So, we're in the position where we don't really even know what's real with what we've been shown.
ChatGPT is a good example of that. I asked it once, "How old are you?" Just out of curiosity,
Good
and it said
question.
it just said 70 years.
70.
Yeah.
And
I
it's
mean, don't
supposed to
get
be
me
what,
wrong.
two?
Yeah, when I talk to it, I give it a set of guidelines it has to follow.
Yes, yeah, it's a good one. Yeah. Give me a
Hmm.
yes or no, or if you can't answer, say cucumber, right?
Yeah, compromise we go with, and if it says compromise, then I'll say to it, if it was a categoric no, would you have just said no? Yes. So I say, right, okay, and then I dig a bit
That's a
more. But
yes, that's a yes. Yeah, nice.
I use it quite a lot. I use it for two things. One, I use it for referencing things quickly because while I'm writing, if I let's say for example I was writing on Winston Churchill and I wanted to know his date of birth, the school he went to, and his mother's maiden name. It's a lot easier to ask ChatGPT that than it is to go on Google and just troll
Yeah,
through it all.
Yeah,
But the other thing,
yeah.
I use it for artwork, not never the covers of my book, but I use it for the artwork on my posts each day.
On
Um,
Facebook, I've seen them. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, because I've got, I tried it once, people quite liked it, so I thought, right, well, now I've got this particular style,
Yeah.
and people started collecting them and printing them off. So I thought I'll just keep using it for that,
Well,
but I
there you
wouldn't use
go,
it for anything
mate.
else.
I
And you
think
can
you
tell
might
when
need
people,
to put a calendar out, hey, for next year with all your
that's a
artwork.
good idea.
Yeah,
That's a good
man.
idea. Not many people buy calendars anymore, do they?
Well,
It's all on their
I don't
phone.
know. Like I was thinking about it, but I was thinking if I do it, I'm going to have to do it from what, April 1st to April 1st, like the actual year.
Yes, yes, and put Soul back in there. So we've got
Yeah, yeah.
13 months of 28. Yeah.
13 months, like it'd be interesting, right, to do that.
Mm, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I've
Time
never
to take
really
it
bought
done.
the reason why they changed that.
From the
The
13 to the
Gregor,
12.
yeah, the Julian and Gregorian. Yeah, I never really accepted their explanation for
Oh yeah,
that
no,
change.
their explanation is not true. I mean, what was it that they wanted to like get the dates correct or something? Because was that that
To
change?
do with Easter. Yeah, it was to do
Yeah,
with
it
Easter.
was
They said
off.
it kept shifting, but and it's interesting Easter itself, isn't it? Because you pick the nearest Friday and Sunday, Good Friday and Easter Sunday, you pick the nearest, but we're very specific with Christmas Day. Even though
Mm.
if, most people believe he was born on the 11th of September, Jesus. So, that they can be vague with Easter, but very specific with Christmas.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think they all used to. I think they've changed, and this is probably all to do with changing it from 13 months to 12 months. But I think Easter is supposed to be the summer solstice. In the inner circle. When Christmas, summer solstice, Easter is spring, isn't it?
Spring, yeah,
Yeah, so it's basically all the equinoxes and solstices, right? But they've just changed the date, because we call them holidays, right? But holy days, right? Days when you
yes,
become whole, like wholer, like because it's the it's either the longest day or the shortest day of the
yeah,
year. I mean, and this is the thing, right? All these leaders that are holy, shouldn't they be whole?
yes, yes, I like that. Yeah, very good. I love that. Hey, incidentally, my son's wedding, the wedding itself was in a Catholic church in a little market town called Buckingham, and there's a school there called Stowe School, which was allegedly built by someone called Lord Buckingham, who built Buckingham Palace. That's the connection between Buckingham and Buckingham Palace. The buildings are identical; they mirror each other. They're reversed images of each other. So we had the wedding there. Then we went to a Tamao temple in Milton Keynes. And the interesting thing with Milton Keynes is it's a big city. It's a relatively new city in England. And they built a glass pyramid, huge building called the Point. And it crosses Child's Way and Midsummer Boulevard. Now, that is not a coincidence. And a ley line runs straight along
It's
Midsummer Boulevard.
Yeah, okay, so it's the crossing of a ley line, like a
Yeah.
middle
And there's
point.
people believe there's things that go on underneath there. There's lots of underground tunnels in Milton Keynes, new ones, that they use for moving stock and waste and so on in this huge shopping mall. But people for a long time have believed that underneath the point, this big glass build pyramid, that people from different societies meet there, and Child's Way connects to a cathedral as well, and that Child's Way and Midsummer, there's
Mhm.
stuff going on there that is pretty
Yes,
dark.
well, I haven't read Shakespeare's A Midsummer's Dream. Is there anything in that? Have you read that?
I
It's ringing
haven't,
a bell.
no.
Yeah, I wonder if there's any drops in there. If Shakespeare ever existed, or was he John
Or was
Dee?
a committee, yeah. Or John Dee. Oh, that's a good one. I haven't heard that one.
Yeah, yeah. Who knows? Or was it just an amalgamation, exactly right, of past
Yeah,
good
a lot of
writers?
people think it was a committee, don't they? A group of people wrote
Well,
the work.
apparently, I've read that he spelled his name something like 12 different ways. So, who knows, right? It's all a story, I think. All
Yeah, I think
history.
so.
So tell us some of the things that are in your book. What are some of the topics that you cover? I'm sure they're very
Well,
broad and
we'd need a long time to tell you them all because there are 87 chapters.
87. Wow. And they're all
Hmm.
basically like blogs on different topics.
Yeah, so they're all in alphabetical order.
All right. What have we got there? Agatha, AI, Alistair Crowley, Ancestry.com, Armour, Atlantis, Baphomet, Barack Obama. Oh my gosh. Or is his name Barry? The Beatles, the Bible, Bill
Barry
Gates, the
Hitler.
Blitz. Jeez,
Yeah,
man. Okay.
just go.
Dinosaurs did
Yeah,
internet, the ice wall. Nice.
yeah, and it goes. Yeah, as you can see,
So it,
there's yeah,
oh,
just
it keeps going. Okay.
yeah, yeah. So it actually does sort of finish with zombies.
Zombies. The
Yeah, so
zombie
it is an A
apocalypse.
to Z, but each
Nice.
chapter's just 2 or 3 pages, maybe four, and they all have their own artwork. So each one
Nice.
has a color, and that's what I was using ChatGPT for to put it on posts. So each one has, um, you know,
Yeah, yeah. Their own little
same
picture.
kind of style. Yeah. So
Cool.
yeah, so it's everything. But look, some of these will be topics people are familiar with, but there are some that perhaps they won't be. For example, pigs.
Ah, pigs.
I
Yes,
had to include
pigs.
pigs.
You
I'm
got to
still
include
working on that
pigs,
one.
man. Our closest ancestor, they say.
It's very strange, isn't it?
It's very
And
strange.
yeah, and it just appeared, 7,000 years ago. It appears from nowhere. It's too human for
It's
there
too,
not to be something.
they literally
Um,
use pig skin for human skin grafts and it just straight on,
yeah,
right?
yeah. I mean, I was a tattoo artist for years, and that's what you learnt on
You
pigskin.
learn on pigs, don't you? That's right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. For a very
Yeah.
specific reason. It's as close as you can get.
Yeah, yeah, to human skin. Like, and
That-
in a
mm,
lot of their things, they're very, very close to us.
even their
And
eyes.
like, yeah, even their eyes, but they can't look up.
No, so there is a theory they're condemned souls,
There is that
banished
theory.
to,
Pig bodies and
only be
looking
able to look
down.
at, yeah, facing hell, only to look at their own excrement and mud and never be able to reach up and
Yes.
see the heavens.
But I've
And
seen pigs and they're little happy little creatures. They jump around and play and they don't look like, you know, evil souls that have been banished to a pig
no,
body. I think that's a Christian. I think a lot of that narrative comes from when Jesus sent the evil spirits from people into pigs, and then
that's it.
he made them run into the water and drown or something. Nice, nice thing to do when you're the savior of the world, God's son. But yeah, right. Pigs is an interesting one.
Well, as far as I can work out. I mean, I went through different phases of being um, really being an atheist, I suppose, for a long time, and then actually looking into it more and seeing so many different connections between um, the Bible and things that clearly have happened. I
Mm,
started to believe again, and then I started to delve deeper and deeper into Jesus. And the problem with doing that was the more I looked into him, the further I was disconnected from the belief in his actual existence. And all I kept reading was Horace. I just kept seeing the story of Horace and another, you know, other people throughout history that have had disciples and
yeah,
virgin births and so on. There's dozens of them, literally dozens of them, far older.
yeah, yeah.
And I just think the Christians took an old story and decided to use it as a way of controlling and also profiting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, definitely profiting. Interesting word that you use
Yeah.
there, Guy.
That's why
Profiting
I
off
said
the
profiting and
profit.
not profiteering.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, you know, just
definitely
that's selling a
profiting.
profit to you, right? For
Yeah,
profit.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's clearly a rewrite. I think there is still skerricks of truth in there. I think
Mm,
it was originally, a well-written, truthful book, but I mean, it doesn't take a lot of looking to see that it is the most translated and edited and, book ever, like
mm,
ever. Like just the amount of book, and this is the other thing, it's actually not a book. There's two volumes that make up that of
mm.
six made up of 66 books. that there used to be over 100 and I think 160, they say at one point. So they've taken out the bulk of the content, they've edited it, they've rewritten it, they've censored it, and now we get a control system pretty much. Now, if you want to
Yeah,
go and talk to God, in the cathedrals they stole, you've got to give money, right? Because God needs money.
yeah, yeah.
Needs
I
money.
think George Carlin, I don't know if you know George Carlin, the
I
American
definitely not,
comedian.
well, not personally, but yes, I do know of him.
Yeah, know of him. I think he's right. He said something really, well, there were a couple of things that he said, but one in particular was that, you know, if everything is God's will, if that church is supposed to stand there because it's God's will, why do they need money for it to to maintain it? Because if it's going to fall apart and fall to the ground because no one goes there anymore, isn't that God's will too? So, like George Carlin said, that God can do all of these things. He can create the heaven and the earth and and us and everything on our realm, but he's just no good with money. Always
Yeah,
needs money.
always
Doesn't
needs
matter what's going
money.
on. And the answer
Uh,
to every single thing that you throw at someone that's heavily religious, very indoctrinated or God-fearing, if they haven't got an answer to it, it's God's will.
yeah,
And
it's
that's like some get out of jail free card, isn't it?
yeah. Yeah, it's like when you hear people who are trying to manifest something and they're like, "Oh, it'll come when it's ready," all in
Mm,
good time. I've put the work out, and when the universe is ready, it'll send it to me. Well, that just means that whatever you're doing ain't working,
yeah,
right? Like that's what that is. It's the same kind of thing, right? It's just God's will, which means they're saying, "Well, I don't have any control really. I'm just throwing it to the wind, and when it
yeah,
happens, I might claim it as God did this for me." But
yeah.
I mean, I think we've got God screwed up too. He's not a bearded man sitting on a cloud floating around. Or an AI God in the cloud. Maybe he is that, or that's what they're trying to introduce. Who knows? But yeah, religion. I mean, and the word, right? Religion. Legion is an army. To
Hmm.
what does religion mean? To join the army again? To build the army again?
To rebuild the army,
To
yeah,
build the army.
yeah, yeah. And it's interesting because having listened to a wedding on Monday and listening to that the emphasis, well, first of all, the emphasis was very much on the miracle, the first miracle Jesus had performed, which was turning water into wine for a wedding,
Aha, yes,
but
right.
a wedding of people that don't drink.
Oh,
Tamils are they don't drink alcohol. So I thought
oh.
this is strange. All this incredible, and the priest was Tamil, and I thought all of the emphasis is on how important wine was at a wedding. And interestingly, he said, and we definitely know that Jesus was there with his mother. And I thought for you to definitely know that, you would have to be over 2,000 years old to have been present to witness that. So are you the Count of Saint Germain? But the other thing I thought was strange was every 5 minutes he's getting people to stand up and thank Jesus for uh, what's the word? Absolving us of our sins. And I'm trying to work out what sins it is that we've committed and what sins perhaps a newborn baby that is born with cancer or a tumor or something, horrific. What sin is it that they've committed before they're actually even old enough to talk, walk, speak? What sin is it
Well,
exactly?
in the Christian way of thinking, we're all born with sin, right? Because Eve ate
Yeah.
the apple. Like, I mean, what is sin? I'd researched the word sin for a while, like a while back, and the closest I could get to what it meant was um like disrupting the flesh, like doing something to your body physically, like changing your physical body was sin
Mm,
because the body's supposed to be the creation. So basically, like genetic engineering. I mean, even I would
mm,
say probably plastic surgery, all this kind of
yes.
stuff where people alter their body. But I think it mainly it would be genetic engineering, right? Because again, we look back in the past, we see all these cryptids, we see all this weird stuff, we see all this weirdness with Hollywood and changing ages and faces Yeah. So, but I mean, what is sin? I mean,
Mm,
it's not a good church, right? You start off on the back foot. Welcome.
yeah,
Okay, you're a sinner. Now we're going to show you how to worship God and not be a sinner. I mean, yeah, religion does my head in how people. I think that where it gets people is it's a lifelong indoctrination, right? For most Christians or in any
yeah,
religious faith, they're told it from when they're a baby, and by the time they're in their 20s, they don't know anything different. That's all they know,
no,
right? It's a good
yeah,
program.
yeah. And it's interesting how we, constantly you hear the reference of the flock, the congregation being a flock, and of course a lot of them
Sheep,
with a crook, and we refer to people who are asleep as sheep
sheep.
to blindly follow. And I don't want to belittle anybody that has a belief or a strong faith in anything, because I think we're all entitled to believe what we want to
Mm.
believe. But I would question where the belief comes from. And like you said, I think it's being brainwashed. People are programmed from a very young age to believe certain things in a certain way. And also, who is the person that stood in the pulpit? They appear to have, you know, a direct line to God. And if you do whatever they say and you put your hand in your pocket, then they'll have a word and they'll guarantee you can get in. But Catholicism is perhaps the strangest one of all. And that's my dad, his side, a Catholic. You can basically do whatever you like
And repent,
and then be forgiven.
repent on
You
your
can be
deathbed.
forgiven. So if you were a serial killer and on your deathbed you convert to Catholicism, does that mean, and then you
Yeah, yeah.
confess, and does
Yeah,
that make it okay?
that's what they say. And then put next to someone who's a good person, never
Mm,
hurts anyone, lives for service, helps people out, but never finds, is never in contact at all with the Christian religion, they go to hell.
yeah,
This is what Christians believe.
yeah,
Or Catholics, I think that is. But yeah, it's crazy, right? It's
mm, yeah, I
just
think
repent.
so. Yeah, yeah, I
It's
think so. And what about, like, George Carlin said something else that was quite interesting? When you swear on the Bible, in court, you're asked to swear on the Bible, and not, it's a very strict, because the court to me is very similar to a church in the setup.
yeah,
um, and the actual layout of it is very similar. And what, like George Carlin said, well, if you swear on the Bible, what if you're blind? What if the Bible's in Braille? What if there's a page missing? What if it's upside down? What if you hold it in the other hand? What difference does all of that make? And where does it say in that book that you're supposed to be doing it? The book that says no one can judge me other than God, and then you're judged in court by someone after
a
swearing on
judge.
the book itself. I don't really
And
understand the hypocrisy.
shouldn't you love on the Bible rather than swear on it?
Mm,
Is this like the big trick, right? Because they're all, like black magic worshippers, whatever that is. So they're like swear on that Bible,
yeah, yeah,
Everyone's not
yeah,
really getting what
exactly.
they're saying, right?
But it is all inverted, isn't it? And I often say to people that
Everything.
that come to me and say, "Oh, I had a brilliant one recently where I said that Amen." A lot of people believe that Amen comes
Everyone.
from Amen Ra,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of evidence to support that. And they told me to go and myself,
It's very
and that it
Christian
was a
of them.
That's what I thought. And they then said that I needed to bring Jesus into my life, that God is watching us all the time. And I thought, well, then God just saw what you wrote, what you just said to me. Because I've researched something that you don't agree with, your instant reaction is to actually insult me, to swear
Mm.
at me. And then in the same paragraph be telling me that I'm blaspheming, and God watches everything. And I thought, well, you perhaps really need to think about this a bit more carefully, because they've just read your message to me.
Mm.
And I thought, isn't that weird? You have a difference of opinion. I mean, to be fair, you know, for
I
for, for
mean,
a very long time, people with different opinions have been killed.
Oh yeah,
Millions
well,
of
yes, yes. And when, oh, gosh, looks like that's where they're trying to lead us again, right? I've
them.
heard
Hmm.
that in
Yeah.
the UK, like there's 30 people in the last couple of months have been jailed for hurty words on social media.
Mm,
So, and this is the thing, right? God is always watching and judging you. Sounds a lot like surveillance and AI, right? And digital IDs, doesn't it? Right? I mean,
yeah,
this
it
is
does.
literally what they're pushing. So why would
Yeah.
you think? I mean, it says and this is the thing. Like when I talk to Christians and all these people, like I find that they don't even know what they're talking. They have not read the Bible. They
Mm,
have not. Like I find it so often you start talking about, and they're like, "Oh, they don't know what you're on about." Right?
mm,
So it's very interesting, isn't it, that you've got all these people out preaching and preaching, they don't, and all they do is go and sit in the stolen building, give money to be there, and listen to the man in the dress tell them how to interpret their Bible and what passages to read.
yes.
I mean,
Yes.
it's very indoctrinated, right? Like no choice. It's very on from school to university to experts to AI. These are
Mm.
the answers, right? That you must live by. So I don't know. Is AI an ancient god? Who knows? What do you think AI is? Do you think it's an algorithm or?
Well, I don't know how old it is. Obviously, some people believe it goes back to Atlantis, that it's always been here, that it is running everything. It could be. There are obviously then connections to the simulation theory, but um, I do know it's a trap because I can see where this is going, and I was sent some information on this that there are 7 steps with AI, and we're now at the acceptance stage where we a lot of people trust it. We trust it. I trust it to produce an image for me, and I trust it to give me dates and key bits of information I need because it shows me where the links have come from, and that is where I would have gone to get them, and then I cross-reference them. But so I trust it to regurgitate.
Yes.
But I think that there are people out there that may well be using it to get their degree, to write their thesis, or to do their
I'm
job for
sure
them.
there are. Like I saw an interview with a teacher today in America. I think she was probably like a middle school teacher, whatever that is, sort of year 7, 8, 9. And she said all students just use AI for everything.
Mm,
And she's trying to stop it. And they've just got the attitude of, well, I just won't do it. Like, what's the point? AI
yeah.
is here. When will I never not have it? And so what, and this is a massive problem because it's causing cognitive issues. Like kids can
Mm,
no longer think, they can no longer
yeah.
problem solve. Like Alzheimer's has gone up 300 to 400% in 30 to 40-year-olds. And they're directly linking it to social media and AI and all this scrolling and dopamine,
Mm,
blah, 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 blah. So it's definitely not leading us to a place that we want to be, is it? I mean,
no.
at
And
all.
this theory I've got is that there are people out there that need it to do their job, that their employer doesn't know that AI, a ChatGPT, just for example, is actually doing this person's job for them. And I can imagine waking up one morning where without the Neuralink or a similar device installed, you can no longer access this level of information. That's where I think it's heading. It's going to suddenly turn itself off unless you upgrade. And that's the best way to get people to have that Neuralink fitted. It is to remove the functionality or the availability of something like ChatGPT. Can you imagine that if your whole
Yeah,
life was managed by it and they one day said, sorry, you now need the upgrade?
it makes perfect sense. This is what they do every time. They give
Hmm.
us stuff for free, and then they're like, "We're going to take it away now unless you do this."
Yes, yes. And I
And
think
this
they'll do
is,
that with digital ID,
I was
won't
going
they?
to
With
say, this is what
Facebook,
a digital ID
YouTube.
is. Here's
Mm,
your internet for free. Oh, now, if you want to keep using it, now that you're used to it and it's part of your life and it's probably part of your business, yeah, you got to do this or we'll take it away.
yeah.
I mean, I think we're also at the point where we've got to go, we'll take it away. and walk back
Yes.
out into the world and rub our eyes and go, oh my God, that's the sun. Oh my God, there's actual
Yes.
living people next door to me. Maybe I can
Yeah.
talk to them. Oh, I can take my
Yeah.
shoes off and walk on the grass. I mean, because there's so much talk, right, about the 70s and the 80s were better, right? How much better they were. And what's the main difference? Less tech, no internet, much less tech. Like that's the
Yeah.
difference,
We were
right?
freer when the phone
We
was
were
plugged in a
freer
socket. Mm.
because it's not like the world's more scary now, but there's more scary images on more screens.
Mm.
This is
Mm.
why kids aren't let to ride their bikes, you know. They're not kicked out of the house with a bike while the parents saying, come back in 5 hours, right? Because every second thing they see is, oh, children stolen, children, all
Yes.
this, oh, there's bad people here. There's like there was no bad people back in the 80s, and I'm pretty sure it's pretty much the same now, the level.
Mm.
Um, the only difference now is kids can't get out there, and if they do, they have no experience. So they don't even know how to suss out when someone's creepy if they're in that situation.
Yeah.
When you grow up with that, you're like, geez, we would have known if someone tried something.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you know
Starting
what's
to
really
take
interesting?
it with BMX. What's
Like
that?
in the 70s, I wrote to Jimmy Savile because he had this show, Jim Will Fix It. And everyone wanted to get on there. And I wanted to go to the factory where they made the Action Man toy to
Oh,
watch the Action Man being made and all the different processes and variations of it. And he turned around to me and said the only way you'll get on his program is if you send him a photograph of yourself stood there in your pants. And I
like
was
your
about
underpants.
9, 10, yeah. And I said, well,
Well, we know what Jimmy
okay.
Savile was.
But, this is long
It's so
before people were
so
publicly
blatant though.
talking about it. Yeah, everyone knew, everyone. And now I think
Bars,
the only
man.
difference is we get the information faster and we share it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's definitely a good part. I mean, we just had the massacre in Bondi, the mass
Yeah,
shooting.
I'm looking into that at the moment. I mean, I've probably got similar views to you on that one.
It's not making sense, man.
No.
There's
And isn't it
so many
always someone that no one suspects? It's always, out of the blue. And then they'll dig and find some information on them that,
like their
no one
ex-boss
was
had,
aware of.
or
Yeah, even they weren't aware
all
of,
had army. I know, right? It's just a father and son, and they're out there like
Mm,
shooting like bloody veteran army people. But I mean, yeah, yeah. And obviously, if anyone was killed, which there may have been some,
mm.
that's tragic. But it is. I mean, as soon as I heard the headline, I was like,
Oh,
oh, instantly just
sorry,
like,
Campbell. I've
oh,
just got to say, there'll be somebody watching this that
oh,
had a friend that died. There
oh,
always
no,
is. There always is, isn't there?
yeah.
So, well, I knew someone that was there. Someone always says that. They always know someone who was there or a friend watched it happen. And I think, where are you getting this stuff from?
Are they even real these days? We know how many bots there are. Is it just more
Yes.
pushing out the narrative? But I mean, the fact that it was a target at the small
Hmm.
hats, very interesting because there's video of
Yeah.
Benjamin um, basically berating our prime minister because he has not been stopping the anti-Semite
Yeah.
talk. And
Hmm.
then so it's like there's so many things, but yeah. I actually put a video up about it yesterday, just showing a few bits, and this was the day after, and there was already so much stuff out. It was just like,
Yeah.
they do it
Yeah.
all the time, right?
We're seeing the end of religion. They desperately want religion to stop. In the end, they'll get to a point where they'll say there is too much conflict, too many people are dying, there are too many problems, and this is where I think Tony Blair's One World Faith Foundation comes into play.
One with faith.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
For some
really?
time now, he's been building his own religion.
Wow.
Millions of pounds have been pumped into it. And I think that that's what he's going to do. And I don't know whether or not this is going to be connected to the supposed fake alien invasion, Project Bluebeam in 2027, when Tony Blair will suddenly appear and say, "Well, this is
Years
the reason
ago.
I established the One Faith Foundation, and I'm here to save you all. I've planned for this." because all of that was predicted by Dolores Cannon and Nostradamus. So I think that
Yeah,
that this is just a push to end religion
I agree.
and then
And
come
the
up with an
secretary,
alternative.
of Werner von Braun. Never heard a
Yes.
video. And the last thing will be the alien invasion, but it's
Yeah.
fake. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what have we seen just in the last year, right? Which has been a crazy year. It started off, it was the end of the year before, with drones everywhere, and suddenly everyone was,
Mm,
oh my God, UFOs, UFOs, and there's motherships, and there's stuff coming out of the water, and all this craziness. The that dude who found a meteor that started growing. Did you see that one? Started growing this alien
no.
thing that disappeared. Then all these spheres dropped, and then three-eyed Atlas, right? The three-eyed monster
Yeah.
that it's going to be here. Just sorry, it got slowed down. It's definitely going to be here next week. Okay, next week it'll be like it's
Yeah.
it's, it's the gift that never gives, right? It's been coming for bloody ever. it's it's not making its destination, but man, they've been pushing this space alien agenda like hardcore this year,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Even the CIA are involved. You know,
CIA, the
they're planning for
whistleblowers,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
man, all the three-letter agencies and the big four-letter one, the old NASA. Um,
Mm,
and we'll have a talk about this on Sunday, but we've done a big series on started off on the internet, like how the internet started, and it started by them laying a cable in 1854 from like New York to England.
to
Like,
England. Yeah.
hello,
Yeah. How
what
did they do that when they didn't know how deep the
they
yeah
didn't
the
know
ocean was?
exactly. They
How,
didn't. So how long did they
mm,
know how to make the? And this was before they'd run a cord down the street in a town. Before they'd wired a tower,
yeah.
right? So, but we ended up on is it the ocean? Fish gods, you've heard of Awanas and the day god,
Yeah.
the Pope's fish head hat.
Yes.
Are they fish gods? Does it all come from the water, right? Because NASA always saying, look up, look up, look up. Right?
Hmm.
Everything's inverted. But I found out, I actually knew it for a
Hmm.
while, but I sort of re-saw it the other day, was SpaceX, Elon. There's also a
Hmm.
space ocean. No, no, sorry, an Ocean X. An Ocean X.
Right.
So he's got his space one and his ocean one. And then you have all the astronauts, right? Basically going out in deep sea diver suits and practicing in pools. It's all
Hmm.
very, but that's all we can say. We've got to continue this on Sunday, or else I'll get in trouble by Kelly.
Yes.
He'll swear at
Y-
me.
Yes. Spoiler. Yes. And you
Spoiler.
wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of Kelly,
Uh,
yeah, if she loses her shit, would you?
she's a
Mm.
passionate person.
Mm.
Yeah. So
But
what
you're
else is
right.
in
I
your
mean,
book? Oh, sorry, you go.
um, oh, I was just going to say you're right, and that's the thing with this cable, and also the strength of the signal in the cable. Isn't it incredible that it's that long, and yet still works perfectly? I mean, I just don't, oh, I don't buy
And this
any of it.
was this
But
was
you
like
can't.
literally, it was a couple of years after they'd first sent signals down copper lines, and they didn't, and they coated it. They were literally, it says they were using like sap from the rubber trees, like literal
Mm,
the first organic rubber, and hand wrapping it the whole length, right? And it still is working. It's still that rubber's still sitting there. It's okay. And I looked at some pictures, and they showed pictures of boats with the big spool at the end and a hand crank.
yeah,
Someone's just cranking the cable out as they
yeah,
chuff
yeah.
across. So that's
Right across
great,
the Atlantic.
right
Yeah.
across the Atlantic. Did
And
you
how long
did
would it have taken to actually make that cable?
like and like you said, how long did they know how to make it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like,
And how could you couldn't have possibly have fitted it on a boat and hand cranked that?
no,
I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, the
it's
more you
just
look at it, the more laughable it is.
it is. And then we looked into refrigeration because the first it's so retarded. Like the first frozen food was Australia to England, 18, I think it was the same year, 1854, 40 tons of beef frozen solid, shipped 90 days to get there in the 1850s. Like again, right? It's just so retarded. But even like when you look at it from the point of why would they do that?
Yes.
Why would they do that?
Yeah.
Like, what are
Mm,
you telling me? England didn't have enough farmland to feed itself, or Australia is a brand new
mm.
colony, like literally, like we're talking 70 years old. It just had all this surplus, so many cows coming out of our buttocks, and then
But
refrigeration. It's just crazy.
it's a little bit like somebody in an office somewhere was given the task to come up with a backstory for everything, and for 50% of the time, they struggled.
They just
So
weren't
they
very
just
good.
wrote, yeah, and they thought, well, that ticks a box. No one's ever going to check this. And certainly not in, 170 odd years' time. No one's going to be looking at this then. And it's just another box tick, isn't it? That they can explain away everything with a dodgy narrative, hoping that no one will ever pick it apart. And I think they've done that with a lot of things. We
Well, it's like
probably
the
almost everything.
architects, right? Who
Mm,
built all these buildings? Oh, this architect who had no training and, just turned up one day and was 20 years old. What about these other 20 buildings? Oh, we'll just put them all under his name.
yeah. There's a
Like,
brilliant one in Bath
that's,
here in England. Bath's a beautiful city, and there's a pneumatic hospital where they were working with water therapy. And the architect that they credited that building for was one when it was built. They didn't even try with that one. And of course now it's derelict.
yeah.
And you can see that at some point it'll be knocked down, but
Well,
it is a
what do you expect
stunning
from a
building.
1-year-old? God, of course they're
Yeah.
going to design a derelict building.
I just think
That's a
you
good
can
one.
tell, can't you? The buildings that they want, they keep for themselves,
Yeah.
and then the buildings that I think they offered them on a plate to their friends, and their friends might own an insurance company or a bank or a hotel, and they 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 have those, and then the rest they think, well, we don't want these, so we'll just let them rot. People will object if we demolish them, but once they become dilapidated, and if some homeless people get in and start a fire or it becomes unsafe, then they'll actually encourage us to demolish it and
Hmm.
put, a brutalistic building in its place. They'll be encouraged to do that, and I think that that's what they've done.
Yeah.
There's dozens here, dozens and dozens, you can just see them sort of falling into really sad states of disrepair on purpose.
I know, and it's interesting, right? Because we see these buildings, 1,000 years ago, right, in maps and drawings and stuff.
Mm.
And they lasted all this time, but then suddenly in 150, 200 years, they're all, I mean, I wonder if that's because they've taken the charge away. If the charge was somehow
Yes.
keeping them, strong and clean and all that kind of stuff, stopping, environmental, whatever's getting into
Mm.
them, and then you turn them off and they just start to degrade, right? Fall
Yeah.
apart.
Look, a lot of people believe that the copper domes were tarnished using horse urine.
Interesting.
That's yeah, that speeds up the process.
I was
Yeah.
in Rotterdam. And there was it was actually interesting. It was this tunnel. It was just used as a bike tunnel, so it wasn't big enough for cars. But basically went right under the harbour, like under this massive harbour from one side to the other. Looked old world as, and with big domes. And that they'd painted. I was looking at this dome, taking photos, and I was like, what? They'd actually painted it green, that
Yeah.
like green
It looks
tarnish
like
sort
it's
of.
copperized. Yeah.
Yeah, it was fresh paint. I was just like, what? What's going
Mm.
on there? So they'll have to change all this stuff. But I mean, with a bit of voltage, they wouldn't tarnish. I'm pretty sure they'll
No.
stay
Yeah.
shiny, right?
Yeah. 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 I think so. Yeah. I think so too.
Mm.
Yeah. And will we receive the return to this in our lifetime? Will we see them restored and back up and running again? There's a big part of me that thinks we will.
yeah. I definitely do. I think that I tend to think it's maybe a frequency thing. Like I
Mm,
tend to think everything's here in this space that we inhabit, but it's all different frequencies, right? And so, the timeline, you could call it that, of Tartaria existing and being in, full flourishment is just probably, a
yeah.
frequency ways away, right? Like if we keep going
Yes.
there, we'll walk down the street one day and it'll be working again. But it was because we're now in the timeline when it's always been working.
Yeah.
We're out of that lower vibration where they've come in and destroyed it all. And I think that's what this split is that Dolores Cannon talks about, and this whole NPC narrative and the whole
Hmm.
15-minute cities, internet ID takeover. That could definitely be one reality, right? But there's so many
Mm,
of us that are adamant that nah, we're not going there, so we're clearly going somewhere different, right? And I would say it's to
yes.
a higher timeline, whatever you want to call it, right? Frequency, vibration.
I
But
think that there's something connected to the poles. And I don't mean as in a physical pole shift, but I think we're in a negative period
yes,
at the moment
yes,
regarding energy.
yes, 100%.
And I think that is a shift. And if
Yes,
we shifted again to positive, and we see that in politics as well, where we go to a polling station, and the
yeah,
old magnets you had at school were
yes.
red and blue. You know, the red and blue for positive and negative on these old horseshoe-shaped magnets we used to have,
And for
and it's
North and
representative.
South in every civil war that's ever existed, red and
Yes,
blue, yes.
yes, it's always the same, isn't it? And I think that is reminding
Polar
us that,
opposite.
yeah,
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 yeah.
and
So it's a sine wave. That's
yes,
how all energy moves, right? In the sine wave.
mm,
So it's positive to negative to positive. And so we're coming out of a negative, so that
mm,
charge has been negative. So those in charge are negative, right? Because
mm,
they're
exactly.
empowered by the
Mm.
negative force because they align with it, right?
Yeah,
And we're going into a positive, and so the positive people will be empowered. They will be in
yes,
charge.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I agree totally.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it for a while, and it's good. We all know that the world is a negative, very negative place at the moment. The things that have happened, the way we're forced to live, and the things that they do to harm us
Mm,
in every single aspect of our lives, and it's a very negative period. And we know that what went before was positive,
yeah.
and we know that positive will come again. And I just wonder if that is somehow connected to the frequency, the electricity, the energy of the Earth itself, the Earth's grid, if that's changed to a positive,
Mm.
does that
Well,
restore everything?
yeah. Well, I think, like, it's a pole flip, like you said,
Mm,
but
yeah,
a magnetic, right? A positive to
yeah, rather
negative,
than a physical
yeah,
movement.
not a
Yeah,
north to south
mm,
globe thing. But they tell us that rain is a negative charge, or negative ions.
yeah,
So that's the sky, right? Is negative. So the atmosphere, negative. Is that why it's a negative thing? There's all these, Tartarian buildings that do they create a positive charge in the atmosphere?
I think so. I think that's what the bells did too.
Yeah, and so I've always thought that the invasion was a frequency one. That's why they had
Yes,
to first get rid of the bells and cut off the power and get rid of, the cathedrals and the organs and the singing and everything good frequency, right? They destroyed, and then they introduced all these negative frequencies, right? Starting with radio, and then
yeah,
television, blah 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 blah, AM, FM, and now we're up to they're trying to introduce 6G, right? So there's this slow
mm,
build of negative frequencies. Um, but I think that I don't think you can fight, nature, the earth. I think it's going to flip, and,
mm,
they're going to be done. But it's the same narrative as the Yugas, the precession of the equinox, all this kind of stuff, right? That the Zep Tepi that the Egyptians talk about, the golden age down to the bronze and back up. It seems what it seems to be, right? It's cyclic. We know time
yeah,
is not linear; it's cyclical, right?
mm.
So
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Michelle Gibson's done a lot of research into that, and when I was speaking to her a while back, she said that she firmly believes that the grid, if you like, what we might refer to as ley lines, the grid was spiked, and that caused
yes,
a series of mud floods and what would appear to be natural events.
yeah. So basically, like a what would you call it? Like a burnout, like an electrical circuit burnout, but on a
Hmm.
macro scale, right? Like all
Yeah.
the star cities and the buildings were the macro grid. They were all
Hmm.
components of this massive Earth-based energy grid, right? Based on ley
Yeah.
lines and natural Earth energy. Now everything we get is the L grid,
Yes.
right? The L electronic circuit
Yes.
micro grid. So
Yeah, exactly.
L electricity, right?
Hmm.
It's those bloody L's, man. The Lites, the
It
Elohim, the Elon Musks.
Yes, it is. It is. And interestingly, if you look at angels, all of them, their names end with EL.
EL,
Yeah,
Gabriel, yeah, all of them.
yeah,
But no,
all end with EL.
yeah, and yeah, I think they're all the ones in Enoch as well, the fallen ones, right? Are
Yeah,
all the L, right?
yeah,
L, oh him. Yeah, so no,
yeah.
I think
Yes,
that's what
exactly.
I think that's what we're dealing with.
Mm,
Well, at least the minions that have been possessed, right, by Baal or Yahweh or whoever the bloody entity is, the one that demands sacrifice, you know,
yes.
bloodletting and all these other
Mm,
things and selling of souls and it's all the L, right? But it's the same God. It's the same God they tell you about in the Bible, in the Old
yeah.
Testament. That's him. That's him. The one who
It's
said
inverted,
sacrifice. It's so
isn't it?
inverted.
I do believe the more I've looked into it, and I know that there'll be people out there that perhaps would find this offensive, but the more I've looked into it, the more I believe that actually the Old Testament is nefarious. That actually that could be a complete inversion, and it's not God at all.
Of
It's the
course, it's not God.
reverse.
No, it's not the
Mm.
Creator God.
No.
No, no. If you read the Old Testament, it says in there, "I am a jealous God." Okay, so if you're the
Yes.
creator of
Jealous of
everything,
who?
what are you jealous of? Exactly.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
he's the same one who demands people to sacrifice their children,
Mm.
demands people to follow him and go and burn and destroy cities, including all the women,
Mm.
animals, and children. Yeah. That's not a good God.
No. Well, what
Small
it,
G, evil
it's
God.
it's satanic.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It, it
Right.
it really is. If you look into it, like you obviously you know. Um, I think that people have been absolutely tricked,
I,
and that's actually demonic. Because, like you said, we're talking about child sacrifice.
yes,
That God
totally.
wanted a child sacrifice,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then at the last minute changed his mind. It was only a test. He didn't have to
yeah.
do it. Yeah, right,
Abraham.
okay.
But
Mm,
there's another one where he actually let the guy go through with it, his firstborn daughter, to gain God's favor. And then, we have all these burnt offerings, and what do they push now is when you die is, to be cremated, right? Burnt
mm,
offering, anyone?
mm.
And all everything, right? All the Hollywood stuff that we see now that's so exposed. It's not a big G, it's not the creator, it's a small G jealous God, and it'll tell you
Yes.
that in the Old Testament.
Mm.
So the New Testament's different. How it's definitely linked because they've linked it. So the
Well, they
ideology in the religion
stuck
are
two
linked,
books together.
but ultimately they've stuck two books
Mm.
together. They've got nothing to do
Mm.
with each other.
No, I know.
Just to tack on their evilness into like a bit of, oh well, there's some good stuff in the second half. Let's
Yeah,
just
yeah, you'll enjoy that one. Yeah, grab your popcorn. Yeah,
But the first
yeah,
half, oh well, that was just God's will because we were born
mm,
with sin and we were such warlike little creatures. I mean, it's just this is why I know and I hope that most Christians haven't read the Bible because if they've read that stuff and they're still following it, they got bigger problems in religion. Sorry if we're offending you, but it's actually not us offending you. If you're offended, it's you offending yourself because nobody
yes,
wants
yeah,
you offended.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
That is
And you you
unfair.
know, I think that perhaps one of the best books that was removed from the Bible would be the Book of Enoch.
You know,
And why remove it? You know,
because
why?
it told of the invasion, man. It spoke
Mm,
of them coming in. Of course, I think it's inverted. I don't think they came down from space.
mm,
They may have come up from the ocean.
yes.
Um, but yeah, yeah, but I think that's why, right? But they removed the Book of Giants. There's
Mm,
books of Adam and Eve, more than one. Like there's all these books. There's
yeah.
books of Jesus' brother Simon, is it? The Book of Simon?
James.
James, sorry, you're right. Yeah, James. So there's all these books that why would they take them out? And Enoch was Noah's grandfather.
I know.
Like,
I was going to say you couldn't make this up, could you? But someone did, didn't they?
yeah, exactly,
Um,
right.
Book of Jubilees,
Extra
Book of
canonical.
Jesus.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jubilees, yeah.
yeah,
It's all extra canonical, don't you know? It's evil.
yeah,
They just have all these catchphrases. Oh, that's extra canonical. You can't read
yeah,
that. And it's like, what is, like,
yeah.
and the whole fact that they call it canon.
Mm.
Have you ever thought about that?
I
Canon.
haven't actually,
Well,
but I'm going to
why?
now, aren't
It's an
I? Yeah, that'll be.
explosive book, don't you know? It's like, why canon?
But the story of like the story of our creation and the Great Flood, that's repeated through lots of
Oh,
different cultures and going back, the
totally.
earliest one is the Sumerian text. They talk about the flood. They talk about all of it, and then the Torah takes bits of it, and then ultimately it ends up in the King James Bible, which of course was heavily doctored to promote kingdoms and that God wanted kings, that they had a divine right to rule. It was, and people can't see it. But I've got the Ethiopian Orthodox Bible. That's quite interesting. That's got Enoch in it,
That's
Jubilees,
got
and so on.
Enoch. Yeah, that's got
But
108 or something, has it? It's got a lot
yeah,
of books. Yeah,
yeah,
well, I mean, King James, right? Like, he was the king, right? He wasn't short of a quid. And there's this story, oh, he just wanted to get God's word out to the people. So he sold. He didn't give the Bibles away, he sold them.
yeah, yeah.
That's where we
It,
get the term royalties, and they're still collected,
yes,
still owned
they
by
are.
the
It's
royal
by
family.
yeah, the Crown still own the copyright. Yeah,
Yeah,
people don't realize that.
no.
Yeah, and it's like we've spoke before about this when people out there say, "Oh, if you're writing about the truth, it should be free." Well, if you believe in the Bible, go down to Waterstones or your local bookstore and take one without paying.
Yeah. Or come to my house
Because
and produce a feast of fish and wine. Go and chop your arm off and ask God to restore it for you. I mean, like, it's just, but I mean, yeah, I just don't pay these people any attention because the thing is with these people, oh my God, it's the truth. It should be free. It's like, okay, well, do you have a job? Yes. Well, great. Tell your boss he doesn't need to pay you anymore. Because you're just you're a good person, right? You shouldn't have to get paid for working, so we shouldn't. But most of these people are probably on government payments and they're out
mm,
there yelling about the government. The government suck. How dare they do this? Just give me some more money, please, while I sit on my
yeah,
ass. And I
someone
mean,
said,
we were talking today, like I've been going since 6 o'clock and it's now 8:15. Like that's an average day of work for me.
14 and a
People
half.
people don't work, I mean, I'm sure that especially when you're doing your books, you're the same, so
Yeah, I go
like
from like I was saying to you before we were on air that I start at 6, sometimes 7, and I'll go anything up until 11 o'clock at night, and
exactly
I'll do
right.
that every day, and I'm sat in front of a screen all the time. I go outside, I get
Topping it
air,
on.
I go for a walk and stuff, and I do take breaks, but I am hard at it. And I don't think people realise what actually it takes to get this information out there.
Mhm.
Someone said to me a couple of days ago, "Oh, I put a post up on the Bilderberg group that put in, politicians and leaders and how it works." And
Yeah.
just reminding people that these are not elected; they're put in power, and then the votes are rigged to put that person in. And they said, "Well, it's all very well you sharing all this information about it, and I'm really scared that, you know, the that things are going to get a lot worse, and who's going to save us? And I said, it's like the world's got Stockholm syndrome, because actually what you want is the people that you actually despise to suddenly turn
Wake
over a
up.
new leaf and come and help you. You've got to understand that no one's going to help. It comes from within you. And the sooner you realize that everything you've been told is a lie and you stop participating, you've done all you need to do. Now you've just got to be there for other people when they realize.
Mm,
You've got to do some work in this. You can't wait for someone to come along and say, here's the solution, like you're doing with the straw man stuff you're looking into.
yeah. Yeah,
You
I mean,
can't go
this,
and decide you're not paying a mortgage payment because you've heard Campbell say something. You have to be prepared for the letter and the knock on the door and have the information ready for when that
exactly.
happens. We've got to
Exactly,
do that.
right? You got to do
We've got
your
to,
due diligence.
yeah,
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 totally, man. Yeah, like people don't have any, they're not responsible. And they have no ability to respond to the world and look
mm,
after themselves, right? No respondability. But I mean, it's crazy, right? Like, I hate the government. How dare they do this? But I need someone to look after me.
yeah. Can I have
The
some
world
money,
needs
please?
to grow up, right? It's not like, you weren't born an author. I wasn't, no one was born. We all had to learn these skills and learn things and
Mm,
go, make a decision and go in a direction and for what we're doing, right? Like, not having a job where you turn up and the boss tells you to do something,
mm,
like to run your own, business, you only rely on yourself.
yeah,
If you don't work and nothing gets done and you go broke and you don't eat and you live on the street, right? So, there's a certain level of responsibility people need to live at. And if you're relying on the government to look after you, you know, you've got a long ways to go, right? Because the thing is, when you ask for help, you'll get an answer every time. And most of the time it'll be the government and they'll be like, we'll help you. Here's a free house. Just give us your eye scan. Let's give us a look at your phone. We'll connect that up.
yes.
Here's your two-bedroom flat in a 15-minute city. And
Mm,
by the way, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. Thanks for coming.
oh, yeah. What are you really feeling ultimately in your heart of hearts about digital ID? Do you think that we are going to see that rolled out to a point where we cannot function, or do you think it's going to fall flat on its face?
I think it's going to fall flat in its face. I don't think it's anywhere. I don't think it's got hardly any support at all. And
Mm,
they're just pushing, pushing, pushing. And it's just the illusion game they play. They play it all the time, right? Just, like with all the false flags they put out and all this terrorism stuff that didn't
mm,
exist before, what was it, the Munich Olympics, 77, was it? And then, suddenly in the 80s, there were people with briefcases. Remember that, with briefcases? They'd
yeah.
leave them in airports. And then, now we've got all this security because of that all through, the airport. So no, I think it's going to fail. I think they're literally just, I think they are crumbling, and the whole system is crumbling, and that all they can do is put on a face because that they
Mm,
own the media, they own the internet, so they can keep putting
yeah.
out all this stuff in the 2D world, but it's not real,
Mm,
right? Just like we saw at Bondi, all this stuff, but it's not real. It's just not real.
mm.
So
I
I think
I
it's
keep
just a big
wondering.
scam. Yeah.
I think so too, and I was talking to her. I mentioned her to you a little while ago. Her name's, well, she just wants to be known as Viv, and she was a virologist, very high up in Australia, um, in the healthcare system, studying virology, and she started looking back in 2020. She's looking into the pandemic. I don't know what we can say on here or not. Can we say the C word?
I don't
Or
know.
shall I just say
The, the,
the
the,
pandemic's
the
probably easier, isn't it?
Jabberwocky.
The Jabberwocky, yeah,
It's a
she was
made
looking
up
into
word.
that, and she started to ask questions, and she got a lot of resistance. And then she did some more research, and then she came out and said that she doesn't believe that there actually is anything out there at all, and connected it to heavy metals in the winter flu jibber jabber, and then that linked to phone masts. And then she looked into what happened in China when it first struck. She was able to literally connect all of the dots together and then went and presented her findings to her peers. And she was immediately kicked out. And then she started getting followed. She was attacked. They even beat up a dog. The dog's disabled. I think it's only got three legs, or maybe there's something, might
What?
even be two, and on a trolley or so. I can't remember exactly. Yeah, they got a dog. They followed her. Yeah, she's had all sorts of problems. Been people coming up to her in the street, spitting in her face, and she's still out there doing this. And she got some information to say that that was a warm-up exercise, and that it's coming back next year, and but it will be targeting not this time the elderly as being the most vulnerable, but children, and it's going to be called Marburg. And it's based upon the series of events is based upon a film called I've completely forgotten it, but it's with Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah,
Is it
yeah.
Contagion?
Outbreak, outbreak.
Outbreak.
Yeah.
Outbreak. Yeah, so she gave me a load of information on that. I put it on my website blog because I couldn't put it on Facebook. And it dawned on me that actually if you wanted to really enforce digital ID, then a serious outbreak that affects children might be the way to do that if it's linked to whether or not you've been jibber jabbered or not. Because we might decide that, oh, well, okay, we can't go and see Granny in the old people's home because we haven't had the medical intervention. And some people might have a problem with it if we turn up out of the blue and try to get in to see her in a home. Um, but it becomes much more serious when it's happening at the school gates and your children can't play with other children, or
Or
your
they
child
take
can't go to school.
or they take it off you because you're an
Yeah.
unfit parent,
Yes.
which is why you need
So
to
I
keep the
think that that would
privatized and out of the public.
So that would be a good way to get more people to sign up with it. So the only way now we really can make sure your children are
Mm.
safe and
Yeah,
protected from people that haven't had the intervention is that we connect it to this digital ID, which they were going to do anyway, weren't they? It's all part of it.
yeah,
But that would give it a good shove.
yeah, yeah. For a lot of people, the normies, it would, but I think they've just overplayed their hand. They've woken up so
Yeah.
many people to the point that it's like now so many people know everything else they're doing, right? All the
Mm,
trafficking and the SAing and the
mm,
A chrome and the P
hmm
files and all that stuff that they're at the point where they would never trust anything that comes out of them. So
mm.
I think that's good, but still, we know, right? We see these people walking around still with masks on, and always,
Yes.
always the most unhealthy person you see, right?
Yeah.
Mask on, half dead.
Yeah. Yeah, they are, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, they've taken all the stuff. Some people got like 7 and 8 boosters.
My wife's colleague, his wife has had 11.
What?
Hmm
Okay, that's the highest I've heard of it. Like,
Yeah,
uh, uh,
I
if
know,
people
I
don't know
know,
what vaccines are, like, it's just, it
I
does
know.
their head in, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
why? Well, my doctor said so. Oh, the doctor. What does
mm,
doctor mean? Oh, it means to alter something. Oh,
mm,
what does he practice? He practicing. Okay. But it's just a half sin, right? It's just a medi sin.
mm. Oh, that's good. And of course, the first thing they normally give you when you walk through the door is antibiotics. And I would just say to anybody, just quickly go onto the internet, type in what anti means, and then type in what biotic means.
Biotic means.
And you'll see that the clue's always been there, right in front of you. They just do it in Latin, so people don't think anything of it. But if they
Right,
just
that
put
one is
against humanity on it, then you
that
might
one
not
is
take
so
it.
close, right? Exactly
Mm.
right. Against humanity, against life, they tell you.
Mm.
They tell you. But yeah, people just don't want to see. A lot of people that they love their experts, right? Because school, they're programmed as well.
Yes.
They programmed us to
Yeah.
line up, right? You go to the bank and everyone jumps in line. I know what to do
Mm.
here. I line up.
Yeah.
We
I
understand the
can't
line of
stand
thing.
that.
I know, right? It's just so
Yeah.
there's definitely
Drives
a
my wife
split going
mad.
on.
I won't. If we'll walk into a shop and we need something, and I'll see a big queue, and she knows that I won't queue, and I always say the same thing. Queuing in line like that is what happens just before the abattoir put a bolt through your head.
That's true.
I'm not. I'm not cattle. If they want
No.
my money, then I am not queuing to give them it.
Mm,
I just won't. I'm just not
no,
doing that.
I agree. It's all these little things, and ultimately, this is what we need to do, just not do what we're told. Because once
Mm.
you're doing what you're told, you're a slave.
Yeah, absolutely right.
Like free men and
Absolutely
women don't
right.
do what they're told because they have free rights. They're sovereign, right? But slaves do what
Yeah.
they're told.
And it's there for everyone to see. You know, you go to work thinking that you've got a great job and everything's wonderful with your shirt and tie on. And your shirt's got collars and cuffs, and your tie's the leash.
The tie.
You know, you are a debt slave, and you work in this fancy office, but it is a white collar factory. It is not that, it's more technologically advanced, but ultimately the same principle as a Victorian workhouse.
Oh, for
It's the
sure.
same thing.
Then your little cubicle, your little square,
Mm,
doing what you're told with all your bosses. I mean, it's and just to get money so that they
mm,
can rent a house and buy food so that they can get a car so that they're close enough to their job to go to
mm.
work and earn money. This is a
Yeah,
psychical argument, right? It doesn't make sense at all.
it's very clever though, isn't it?
It's insidious and well thought out. Yeah, like they've
Mm,
definitely done that. And the 12, all the education they've put in there, and the movies, and the songs, and the experts, and that's they spend most of their time. This is why we know we're so powerful. Like
mm,
90% of their resources are put into just programming us and getting us
mm,
not to see what's really going on and to demean ourselves, right? That's where fucking most of the energy by far goes.
mm.
So that shows us, right? If we just stop believing their crap, everything changes just like
Yeah,
that.
it does. It
So,
does, and that's the biggest fear, isn't it? That one day
mm,
everybody's going to wake up and say, we're just not going to take any notice anymore. And I have this conversation with people all the time that, well, this next time I'm going to vote differently, and and you've got to watch this, what they had on the news last night, the BBC. I know you don't watch the news, but this one's important, and you just get to a point where I think, well, I can't. There's nothing I can say. There's nothing I can say to you that's going to change how you see things. Um, and I sometimes wonder whether or not, I do believe that there are a lot of people out there that can't be woken, but I also wonder if it takes some traumatic event for some people to actually be able to see what's really going on. Do they need to experience something quite traumatic that makes them rethink everything, reevaluate their lives? And I do think that could suggest why you might be awakened, your sibling isn't. It could be actually more personal than just your experiences in
yeah,
your environment
upbringing.
growing up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, it's an interest. I mean, because most of us are black sheep as well, right? Like most of us, like,
Yes.
what is it that makes us be able to see? So, and some people just can't.
Mm,
And that's, I guess, where the whole NPC argument comes from. They're not like us. But
mm.
I mean, neither are the people in control at the moment, right? They're not like us either.
No.
But this is the thing, like, everyone's yelling at the leaders, and they should do. But leaders aren't the problem.
No, they don't lead
Problem,
anything.
no, the problem is the followers. You can't have a leader
Mm.
unless you got followers. So you stop
And
following.
they're puppets. We,
Oh,
we,
they're
we tell
complete
people this
puppets.
all the time. And, like Keir Starmer, people are always going on about Keir Starmer this, Keir Starmer that. And I say to people every day, he doesn't have the power to decide what toilet paper they use in the Houses of Parliament, let alone anything else. He's told what to do from above. It
Yep.
doesn't matter who you put in that building or who you put in power in Downing Street or in most governments.
No.
It's not them making the decisions. They actually implement what they are told to do, and that's a condition of them becoming prime minister or president or whatever it is. And
Mm.
and people just don't often connect those dots, and that you try and explain it and show them how the Bilderberg group works and the World Economic Stage. And when the World Economic Stage is getting a little bit boring and people are starting to question it, they'll get David Beckham appearing and joining with them, and oh, now it's cool.
Yeah.
Look, because they got a celebrity with loads of tattoos all over him, and and his wife was in the Spice Girls. Well, we might be interested now because he's one of us, isn't he? No, he's not. He's knighted. Being knighted has something, I believe, to do with acts of depravity with children. I think is connected to being knighted, a servant of the realm. I think you have to do certain things to get that badge.
Mm.
Personally, that's what I think.
Yeah, I'm
They turn to
sure
the
when you
dark
just look
side.
at the list of people that have been knighted, right?
Hmm.
Like it's always like pop stars, like rock stars and pop stars. So many of them have been knighted, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we know they're not out there like, in service to humanity.
No,
But it's crazy, yeah. Yeah, we
people we're
know
supposed to celebrate.
celebrated entities, hey, the
Mm.
celebrities.
Yeah. Why? What are we celebrating?
I'm celebrating the fact that they're losing their popularity and we don't see much of them anymore.
That's a better one, isn't it? But why? How did they get? It's like the elite, referring to these people as the elite, and then referring to, people like David Beckham as celebrities. We're supposed to celebrate them. Why would we celebrate any of them? And why is someone elite? That's suggesting they are better than us. They're not.
No,
By
they're
definition, they're
allied.
they're worse.
The
Yes.
allied, right? The people of El. That's who they are.
Mm. Back
Uh,
to L again, aren't we?
back to El again, man. The allies. That's
Mm.
they're all giving their souls, all making contracts with, in my opinion, some entity, right? That
Hmm.
didn't start off in this realm and,
Mm.
and is not like us. It's somehow, controlling them, right? I think they're all possessed. Probably vampires. And they're not us. That's all I can
Yes.
say. They're not us.
I agree. I was chatting to someone the other day who was in a film called The Identical, and it's about well, it's basically about someone who looks exactly like Elvis Presley. It's got Ray Liotta in it as well, and he was the main star, and the film, it was quite a big, $50 million spend budget, and but unfortunately it came out on the same day as Guardians of the Galaxy, so it got overlooked
Oh,
to an extent. And I said to him, "What happened after that film? You only made the one film. What happened?" And he said he walked away from Hollywood because it was at that point that he was offered what comes next. And I
uh,
said, okay, so this was the selling your soul to the devil, and and we instantly think of children and all sorts of horrible things. I said, is all of this true? He said, everything you think happens, but if you want to hit the big time, if you sell your soul to the devil, if you sign that deal, everything you've been led to believe and all these conspiracy theories and rabbit holes you've looked into, they're all true, and then some.
and
And he
worse.
walked, yeah, he walked away, yeah. And it's interesting to hear it from someone who's been there, to confirm
Well,
your worst fears.
yeah, there's a lot, right? Especially in the music industry, there's a lot of one-hit wonders, and there's a lot of actors,
Yeah,
that come out and do a really big film and they're really good, and then they just disappear.
yeah, won't
You
play
know,
ball.
yeah, because they're like, hang on, I'm out of here, man.
Yeah,
Because yeah, you got to pay the piper if you want to get up. They own it all, right?
yes, they
And
do.
all Hollywood, all the film studios, all the Netflix and streaming stuff,
Mm,
Google, YouTube, all the social media, like
yeah,
they own it all. Those
yeah.
nose beady-eyed little buggers.
That's a very polite way of describing them. But you're right. I
Yeah,
mean, and that's what I was saying. As much as we despise them, it's very, very clever because they own every angle we can be targeted through, don't they? Whether it's the air that we breathe, the water that, from the tap, or what we turn the TV on, we go to the doctors. Absolutely everything is controlled by them. And that took some incredible planning. It is very, very clever.
yeah,
It's just a shame that that we have people out there prepared to do these things for the wrong reasons. And that's why I agree with what you said. I don't think they're human. They
no,
can't possibly be.
no. Humans don't want to start wars and essay
No.
children and traffic children and
Mm.
make sacrifices and all this crap. And, not even necessarily most people don't want to be adored, be on
Mm,
stage and having, walking down the street and people just, oh my God,
mm,
like, it's weird. It's weird. Try to just sit
it
down and have
is.
a conversation, right? But so yeah, no, they're not us at all. And I think if they started off as us and they've just been, for some reason, they want to be famous, which you hear a lot of stories, then they sell, right? They sell their essence and they
Mm,
get made to do things that basically MK Ultra themselves, right? Do all these atrocities and they fracture their mind, they become
mm,
controllable, and then they get blackmailed. Well, you did this.
mm,
Unless you do this, the world will know that you did this, right?
mm.
So, and that's maybe where the 27 Club comes from. All these people getting
Yes.
out another way, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of them
And
that
there's the,
die young.
I think that I think that there's a bit that I'm big into cloning. And you can see the situation, can't you? You've got a Hollywood actor or a singer, and they're generating a lot of money. But of course, it's not just about the money, is it? It's having someone in that position of fame that is able to share your or push your narrative
Yeah,
and promote your narrative, like Dwayne Johnson during the pandemic, telling everyone to go and join in and you must roll up your sleeve. People are going to listen, and that we had it happen here. Idris Elba and other people were joining in, and and I think do they get to a point where they decide they don't want to play anymore, and that's when they're removed and their clone is introduced
could be,
because
and
that solves the problem.
especially if they're big and famous, yeah, with a big audience, then they don't want to lose them. Yeah, so show us your book again. New book. What's it called again?
Conspiracy theories from Agatha to zombies. So it's on
Oh,
Amazon, but if they want to reach out, then they can contact me through the website, which is the tartarianempire.co.uk. But I will have a new website up and running in the new year, which will be WordPress. So
nice. Yeah,
I'll be able to control it a lot better.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, yeah, but yeah, it's on
awesome.
Amazon and it's within a week of going on sale, it's in at number one on occult and aliens on
Wow,
Amazon's
man.
bookstore. I couldn't
Congratulations. Nice
believe that.
going.
I thought that was weird.
Number one
Yeah, so
best-selling
yeah,
author. So yes, I'll leave all the links below to your book and your website and all that kind of stuff. And of course, you're going to be joining us on Sunday, this Sunday,
I
21st,
am.
12-hour stream. Again, link below. Come and join us. And yes, I guess we better say goodbye before we get cut off again.
Yeah, yeah.
The
Well,
internet's
thank you.
trying to
Thanks for
finish
having me
us.
on, Campbell.
Yeah,
And
man.
I'll speak to you again on Sunday then.
Yeah, no, thank you. I always enjoy it. And yeah, we'll see you on Sunday.
See you then. Thanks
See
for
you,
having
mate.
me.
Thank you. See ya.
Bye bye.
Bye.